Well, here we are with Scott Rogan from Rogue Home Cinemas. How are you, Scott?
Yeah, great.
Scott, I've been noticing you started a Facebook page up for, is it for people who love home cinema?
Yeah, look, it goes a little bit further than that. It's actually, we've created Rogue Home Cinema Alliance, which is actually dedicated for our customers and our students. So it's a place in there that we can sort of connect and ask and share. And it sort of has been inspired by seeing some other groups out there, which maybe have got pretty big, but I feel that there's a lot of opinions flying around that maybe aren't so good. So we're trying to keep a little bit of a closer knit community, which are a little bit more educated and have a bit better understanding. And anyone that comes into that circle can be nurtured, I think, a lot better.
I was going to say, because I can imagine quite a few groups as well intentioned, but if you're not working particularly in the industry daily like yourself and seeing sometimes the advice we're talking about could be either outdated or might have just been gathered from an incorrect source.
Yeah, that's what's really spurred this on. We've connected in just a few groups, and these, some common questions, and as novices and amateurs, there's some popular ones that keep coming up, and they definitely need help. But then you have 20 people weigh in on their idea or concept on what that should be, what do you do? And then there's some industry professionals out there like ourselves that participate and get in there. But then, next week it's the same question from another guy, and the next week it's the same question from another guy. And we're like, well, hang on, how can we serve people better? So we've got a few things we're working on to give people a very clear path, and try and help serve people a lot better.
What drives that? As an industry professional, you make your living out of doing, top-end home cinemas. We've been to a few, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
What drives you from going, hold on, this isn't really a money-making exercise, this is serving the general community that loves the same stuff that we love?
Yeah, look, there's a few components to it. I mean, really to be able to help people best, it needs to be in-depth and deep dive, and you do need support. So we're going to look at creating a masterclass, which is something people can opt in and purchase, so they do have a clear path. They've got all the pillars in place, and they've got the support to see out that project. So, in the group, for example, there's Andrew, Paul, and myself. We're going to oversee everything in there. So anyone in there that's a student or a client that's got ideas and concepts, we're going to make sure they're on the right path every step of the way. But ultimately, if someone's trying to build a brand new cinema from scratch, then they've got to start at the start. What about this and what about that? And you go around in circles, and it's going to cost people time. It's going to cost people money. So we're going to create the masterclass, which is really going to document exactly how we do it, what we do, even the programs we use, the project management software we use, the models and calculators we've built for our projects. All of that's going to be in there. So I feel that's what's going to help actually people get the results we're getting, rather than, it's not a buffet. You can't come and cherry pick some stuff out and expect to have the same results. So, yeah.
With a master class, people going on, what do you really believe it will deliver to them at the end of the day? They complete the whole thing.
Well, look, ultimately, it's going to be a lot of confidence and joy throughout the project. I mean, the journey for anyone that goes DIY on things, and that's what they love doing. Though, of course, it's that performance expectation, both in the way of the experience audio-visually, also the experience of the room, how the room makes them feel, because the decor, the layout, is really important to that as well.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they know that they've got a world-class home cinema, and once they fire that thing up, then it's going to be obvious. And of course, when you've got a plan and you execute towards that, and someone's got your back, mentor to get you there, then you're going to save a lot of mistakes, you're going to save time, you're going to save money. And so it sort of became a bit of a no-brainer to us. We've got all this education, this knowledge, and it's sort of exclusive to those people that want us to do everything for them. So I sort of feel like it's a bit of way of obligation, really, to help change the game. We've changed how we do things radically in the last 5 years, and the results have been phenomenal. So how we're going to help more people? It's definitely through online education is going to do it for sure.
For a company like yours, Broadcom Cinemas, and you are doing these absolutely sensational cinemas, I know you're busy. What were some of the challenges you actually faced in designing a course in the first? How do you design a course like that, and where do you get the time from?
Yeah, look, we've got a few more layers of team now, and we're obviously going to have to commit a fair big part of our projects towards documentation for the class. So there's going to be a pretty big effort. Though Andrew and myself are both very passionate about education and learning. We do that in various parts of our life and world. And so it sort of suddenly dawned upon us that this is kind of an obvious move. And we could be helping people anywhere in the world with this. So I reckon that's pretty cool.
You mentioned earlier, I'll just look back, you mentioned something about these pillars. Is it these pillars for building a home cinema?
Yeah, well, I guess there's the steps or the foundations, and each one of those pillars need to be in place, but it's not going to hold up the end result. So, it starts with discovery, who, what, why, where, when, that's the core of the concept, and it works all its way through, every part of a project. We haven't quite finalized those pillars. They're sitting on 12. I'm trying to see if we can make that maybe smaller, I don't know, but we're just looking really hard at how we do things, and therefore, how can we sort of, make that easy to understand and focus. So, because it can be overwhelming. So we're trying to package into so we've got, each pillar you can focus in that area, and that builds the next step, the next one. So it's going to be a very practical course. And we don't want to we can't leave any of the special stuff out.
Yeah. I was going to say, with the solutions you've come up with in how to deliver it, is it going to be like video, audio? Is it going to have manuals, combination?
Yeah, mostly video. I think that's how most people are really learning these days. Of course, video transfers really well to audio as well, so you can do it in the car or the bus. Yeah. The video is obviously going to give it, people can see what we're actually doing, but also there'll be some manuals, there'll be some checklists each step of the way, which ensures, yep, we've got this right. And there'll be some training on the software that we use, some links, some recommendations, and with our models, we've got a whole bunch of calculators and models we've already built. So our students will get all of that straight up, and it's taken years to get that database together.
I was going to say, with your students, are they going to be on their own, going through the program on their own, or is it going to be, are you going to combine some collaborative learning experiences into this?
Yeah, look, there'll be some webinars. We're going to have the ability for people to connect through the webinars, but also the Facebook group. That's why we built the Facebook group there. So people that are on their own journey, they can actually learn and bounce off each other. Because it's crazy. I got an email the other day from someone asking about a situation. And now if I get emails or texts, I'll do a video, send them a link to the video, and I'll put it on our YouTube channel for others. Because there's no point answering the same question over and over. I thought
That's a great concept.
Yeah.
Answer the question once, there's the link, you're done.
It's done. And saying, if someone's got a question in our community, then we can answer, they can ask it in the community, other people can weigh in, we can weigh in. Instead of this one-to-one communication. So we're certainly thinking well outside the box as far as, the world's changed. We've got to use these tools to our advantage. And I've been lucky to be in some other masterminds and groups lately, and I've seen just how powerful that really is in our business groups. And it's like, wow, this works. We can help a lot of people.
Now, I am not an expert in your industry, but I've been on a few of your jobs and the privilege of filming some of your cinemas. There are some technical things that spring to mind, and one of it is your audio calibration. Now, I've been in a couple of them, you've explained this to me. What do you say to the person who says, look, I want to learn this, but that's probably, might be a skill I don't know if I can grasp? Yeah,
look, most of the course can be very DIY. Measuring, mounting, building, constructing, painting, all that sort of stuff, connecting. The calibration's a little bit trickier. You need a little bit more experience there, maybe, and they're quite sophisticated tools. And you don't really, once it's calibrated, you might recheck or recal as you upgrade, or every year or so you might recalibrate. So to have maybe $5,000 worth of tools or more, we've probably got $20,000-$30,000 worth of instruments between Andrew and I, at least. It's obviously a bit silly. So that's where we can hire in someone that is already ISF certified, HA certified, which is acoustics and videos mastering certified. You know, these guys are around the world. We're connected to all them. There's a community in itself. So we can certainly tee our students up with the local teams that have the experience in the instruments to do that. At the same time, you know, people can choose to learn that as well. But in Australia, we might get the guys from the US here once every year or two. It's a little bit tricky to get access to that sort of level of skill. But yeah, we highly recommend it. Yeah.
And you mentioned this community quite a lot. Is this what so even though they do the master class, and we've seen this, people do master class, and you don't intend that just to be then a black hole on the other side. You intend to continue this, so they're getting case studies, sharing ideas, projects.
So as a sort of a graduate program, we can continue with all of the showcasing and deep diving behind the scenes of what we're doing. So I say it's a big commitment, because you want to get on site and get the job done, though then to document and talk about and continue to educate and train, you know, that's going to be half a day of extra work each time on site. So, but look, I think it's going to add a lot of inspiration, and there's going to be, you know, we invent new things on every job, you know, and part of the course is going to be thinking outside the box, because these new solutions that happen all the time. So I think keeping that up is going to be a big bonus, and that's the sort of stuff we're not going to go as deep on and share generally in our YouTube channel, because it is more technical. A lot of people might not get it. I think it's really relevant for our students, and yeah, look, it takes a special effort to do it as well, so it's a little bit special.
So to give people an idea, because you've got this masterclass coming up, so to give them an idea on even the start of it. Now you do have a job that we were just talking about off camera that's just about to start. I think you've got a crew got in there at the moment. So this job you're doing now, what has it been? Now the crew I believe got on site today.
Yeah.
But what happened before that crew got there? Just to give the students a bit of an idea of the pre-stuff.
Yeah, sure. Well, we first had a meeting with our clients, 3-4 months ago, as they were planning, looking into. There's a couple of rooms they could consider, so we discovered which room would probably suit them best.
Now, how did you do that?
Well, sort of. Really, it's we got to look at who was going to use the space, so numbers of seats, who was going to be using that room regularly, week on week, and it was really 2 to 4 people. So like, great, 1 row of seats does the trick. So we got an idea of what size room would suit 1 row of seats. You know, what sort of space at home was maybe wasted and was going to be underutilized. It's always a great way to add value to the home and get more value out of, you know, your lifestyle. So we looked at that, and what was an office was moving out. They're kind of retiring anyway, so out of the office and in with the cinema. It's a good 4 by 5-ish meter room, kind of pretty good. Little nook for a bar. Yeah.
Oh wow! So you get to that stage now. Before you go on site, obviously, how many times do you actually have to go back to the client with plans? Just a student is doing his own, it might give them an idea that then plans may not be perfect the first time.
Correct, yeah. So look, we presented obviously the sort of services and range of delivery we offered, and they opted for a MyMax design. That's our sort of premier product and service, where we really deep dive and doing design engineering and interior fit out. We do everything. So they optioned for that, employed us to get that design concept underway. And you know, that takes us about a day. Even me, it takes about a day to put that together, even with all our calculators and things. So, and usually, in fact, I'll then revisit the job within the week after. So we don't just design and present, because there's some things that you still need to simmer on and think of. Might come back to the client and go, did you think of this, did you think of that? Certainly a good discovery meeting and inspection of the room and understanding the room is important, because in this case, we're actually putting the projector behind the room. There's a carport there, so we're going to build a box and an environment for the projector, hole through the wall, beam the projector through the wall. It's going to allow us a bigger screen. It's going to block out noise and heat. So there's some pretty cool advantages to we could apply to that job. And you just want some time to think, because other ideas sort of pop up as well.
I was going to say, is that a good piece of advice for someone designing who does your course and says, "Oh, look, I can do this now." Maybe do a design, but then just let it simmer for that week or so.
Yeah. You need some sort of go. Okay, that's looking pretty good. But then when you come, have a breather. Even if it's the next day, sleep on it. You come back to it, and then you might look. You're going to get stuck. There's going to be some bits like, "Oh man, what do we do?" And then it's going to click. And also you want to be very collaborative as well. So other family members, they might not be very technical, but they're like, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice if we put that there?" And you're like, "Oh, that is a cool idea." So you're going to be really open to different ideas and concepts from everyone. And ultimately as well, once they sort of do have that SketchUp plan, sort of where they feel that they've got it right, they can shoot that over to us and we'll review it anyway.
Oh, beautiful.
So we'll make sure that, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people, probably like I was before I met you, I'd go, speakers. Give me huge speakers because they'll be the best.
Yeah.
And you showed me
Lots
speakers
around
that are like
things.
just a mind-blowing. How does someone start, obviously you're going to teach them in the class, but just as a general idea, what do they need to think about those speakers before they even think about where they're going to, what they're gonna buy?
Yeah, it's good point because, there's some speakers I absolutely love, JBL over the years have been legendary. But in the home game, they're quite large, and home theatres aren't that big. And in fact, we're trying to squeeze every 10 mil out of here and there. We're negotiating where everything goes within millimetres. And knowing that, these speakers that are going to be a lot more accommodating. So obviously you can't design something if you don't know that something can actually fill that spot, that solution. So these brands that actually offer quite a range of shapes and sizes. We deal with a lot of Triad, which is a custom brand out of the US, very focused around home cinema. And their speaker's only 100 mil thick. But then the same speaker could be a desktop, a standing, a more narrow but deeper. And if they still don't have what you need, they'll custom build it to suit. So this means you can really allow the engineering, calculators to sort of go, well, this is where the speakers need to be. Instead of going, oh, but my favourite speaker's bigger, so that won't work. I've got to put it over here now. Really, we prioritise the engineering, and then we find a product or we get a product built to suit that job. You don't pick out your products first and try and jam them in. And with that, that's where you get the big rewards because it's fundamentally built really well.
Wow.
So it's the coupling of the speaker into the room and eventually into the sound into the room into the listener. That's the final result.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other thing I've noticed in your rooms when I've walked in is apart from the speakers giving beautiful sound, the room itself seems to have this ambience. They're not dead sound, like the sound isn't being killed off.
Yeah.
There's this, I don't know, it's got a feel, what do you call that you achieve?
Yeah, well, that's sort of the acoustic space. So, the ambience, the spaciousness, or envelopment as we call it, is our technical term for how spacious a room sounds. So, you can acoustics is a major component, and you can over dampen. You can have a room that's too lively. Think of most living areas, quite lively. That's why I don't deal with a lot of hi-fi anymore. Because you can have beautiful products and then they get thrown them into a random room and you end up with average sound. You could have spent 20 grand on a pair of speakers. I just didn't find that very exciting and rewarding. So, whereas the cinema, we can control all those elements. Yeah. And you can actually get quite a modest set of speakers sounding really friggin' good. So, that's our sort of real emphasis. And that's a major pillar of the cinema.
So on the master course, people better grasp what all that takes to achieve that in a room.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it's very step by step, but there's definitely, you have to have a little bit of future knowledge. So as you're going through a step, you kind of know what's up next. You know what your next options are. Because often we build something that suits, say, the video ideally, but maybe that compromises the sound. So you got to kind of come back and kind of negotiate between those two components and find a happy medium. There's a lot of compromise. And that's sort of really the skill, is understanding and learning how to best compromise between one thing and the other, because there's no perfect room, there's no perfect system. So.
And I've been in quite a few of yours, and I'm being quite surprised at the range. In just a few rooms I've been, the range of the screens and the shapes of the screens from flat to curved. And another major thing I noticed differs in each of your rooms is the projectors.
Yeah.
And I would have just thought, buy a projector. You know?
Yeah, well, look, it's where they install, how they install. Obviously, there's budget as well. People got to have a fair idea of what they're willing to invest. And again, we got to have an idea of what products at what levels are realistically going to give them that outcome and install correctly. You don't want to jump down the rabbit hole and in the end work out that you triple your budget. It can't happen. So some reality checks along the way also. But we've got our favourites still.
Yeah, you do. One thing what really impressed when we were talking and you were telling me about this masterclass, and you ran a concept by me called the one question. Could you explain this? Because I think this is going to make it such a meaningful course.
And this is what I mean, and anyone watching can comment or go a long way, because we do want to ask the community out there. And being a masterclass, it's really more the DIY enthusiasts that are, I think, going to engage with this. And what we want to know really is what's the one thing that you need or want to know most regarding home theatre. And I know different people are going to have different things. That's going to give us a real focus on what we need to target, what might be misunderstood. Because often, when you go, you can sometimes think that that's obvious and it's not so obvious. So all we're asking is, what's that one thing you're struggling with or need demystifying to help you with your cinema? And we'll put all that together, and no doubt we'll have 20 or 30 or so different components, which we'll make sure we specifically address them in each of the pillars as we go along.
Wow, fantastic. For those watching, people are saying, I'm going to take this masterclass, and they might have watched a little bit about you, or maybe they haven't. Can you tell people a little bit of the journey of your journey to get here to the kind of, because you've got lots of street cred. Yeah. And I think it's important that people are going to sign for masterclass, go watch the street cred.
Well, look, exactly. I mean, for myself, it's been audio-visual since, almost 18 years ago now. I wanted to replicate the Big Doubt Music Festival in my house, so hanging out in the Hi-Fi store was a good idea. So Hi-Fi is actually, new music was what drew me into the game. And really, it was sort of not until Blu-ray disc came out, high-definition video came out, that video didn't suck anymore. And when you blow it up on a big screen, it looked really cool. And it's like, wow, there's something to this. At the same time, it's where I started to realise that hi-fi and random rooms gave random results, and home cinemas, you started to have some control. And it's actually when I met Andrew, who's on the team, and Andrew had already studied and learnt the calibration techniques. He brought Jerry LeMay of HAA over to Australia to train people on small room acoustics in particular, which is what home cinemas are. Very different acoustic environments to a live show, open air, a studio. Very different acoustic environment to a commercial cinema. So they have their unique challenges, and not a lot of people understand them. So he brought those classes to Australia. I was lucky to meet Andrew and at my shop. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's crank it up a notch. And obviously we had a great synergy with, where we wanted to take things, which is really the cutting edge, the limit. How good can we make it? And so since then, Andrew and I have trained with THX, Home Theatre Professional Program, which of course sort of the guys that sort of set the standard in the 80s. HA, of course, Home Acoustic Alliance, Small Room Acoustics, Design, Calibration, Understandings, and ISF, Image Science Foundation, which is Joel Silver out of the US, who is really all about recreating that studio quality picture in the home. And plugging in a TV or a projector and beaming it against the wall is a long way off, Even Ferrari, who design and build and manufacture and engineer everything in-house, they don't leave it to chance. They stick every car on their racetrack and they test it and they tune it. So that's what we do with every one of our products, every one of our systems, and the knowledge we've learned from that's been phenomenal. So really, the design that all that experience ended up creating our design systems, which using SketchUp 3D allowed us a platform and a space to communicate that engineering, those ideas, that brainstorming, that design concept into something that was tangible and now valuable that a team can build off. So that's sort of where we've sort of come through, and it's exciting to be dealing with people that are just moving in or just designing a house, and we're getting in early. Whereas at Calibration, when we were doing a lot of that sort of 5 or 6 years ago in particular, we were fixing problems, and we're at the end of the project. And sometimes you can only do so much when someone's already stuffed it up and put the speaker in the wrong spot. Or it's painful because then they're stripping the room, repainting it, changing the cabinetry, changing the speaker heights. There's one guy who probably spent $6,000 in the wrong direction. And the education or getting some design from us or whatever would have saved him a bucket load of money. But, you know, he ended up rebuilding it and much happier with what he did. You know. Yeah. He made a mistake, but he fixed it. Yeah.
You've been on this journey, and I know you're still pushing the limits, but you've got the MyMax home cinema. It is absolutely unbelievable. And I've been fortunate to be in a couple with you now and video them, so check out those videos. But for the viewers on Masterclass, and they go, wow, well, can you describe this level you've actually taken home cinema to?
Yeah, well, look, it's again layering up the audio-visual engineering into the specific room, because every room is different. It's factoring in the doors and the windows, those pesky things that get in the way of speakers and acoustics. So, and a very, you know, outside the box thinking, very, you know, you've got to look at the big picture. We want to sort of, you know, teach people how to think outside of the box for themselves. And the magic, there's always magic in every room. So there's a lot of solid science and principles that we'll be sharing, and calculators to shortcut and fast track their success there, but also the brainstorming, the thinking outside that, so they really do get something that they're proud of, something that's really spectacular, it functions and works well, but it's going to be completely unique. It really is going to be their project. I mean, all of our projects are all a bit different because our customers are all different. The rooms are all different. They have different solutions, different needs, and it's exciting, that creativity side. Yeah. But yeah, it's all come from that MyMax work. We've been doing this for MyMax level work, 3D engineering work for about 3 years now. We put all that last 10, 15 years of knowledge into that, and we instantly got massive results. We kept doing more of it, and so all of those projects are, that full MyMax work, it's all there in Masterclass. We give everything away, it's all there. For those people that maybe they might get stuck with the 3D design and the CAD documentation, we do have a service where we can design for them and actually get those build plans, and then they can execute the rest themselves. So you sort of the whole lot design for you, create build plans, and then these Masterclass where you learn to do it all yourself as well. So that's sort of the 3 layers where I think we can help a lot more people like that.
I'm very conscious of your time, and I'm really appreciative of that. One thing, in everything you've done and you're on this journey, is there something that stands out, like you go, that is a piece that I've learned that I'll treasure forever?
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for us the real game changer was when we really did execute our first ever proper MyMax cinema, which was all in that 3D space, and I would have spent, I don't know how many hours on this thing. I should try and work it out, but it was many weeks and many long nights in this 3D design program, trying to put everything I had in there, and we custom built the stage wall, the baffle wall. We custom built the acoustics and the pillars down the sides of the room. The design really led the project, and if we didn't know, we weren't kind of going, oh, these products would be good, put them in. We just really led with what the design said, and then if there wasn't a product available, we built it. So And it was great because my dad's he does the construction, Brian. So, and that was the first time we really started working closely together. And if it wasn't for having that sort of construction knowledge, which I didn't have, that collaboration, it's like, well, yeah, we can make that. So yeah, so we stuck to that. We had a client that believed in us and went for this crazy design, and I mean they absolutely love it. And we fired this thing up. We calibrated. I remember Andrew was there as well and some of the team. And we fired this thing up, and our jaws dropped. It truly was such a stronger performance of sound, envelopment. Everything about the room was on a whole other level, and this system's overall build was a lot less than many rooms we've been in before. A lot less.
Wow.
And we're like, okay, what we've done here is a bit special. So we knew we needed to do more of it, and pretty much that's where the business changed. We haven't done a lot of work in other areas where we could have. We've sacrificed maybe some of our potential business to really become experts in this area and put everything into it. And we've probably done another 10 projects like that since. People they're catching on, they're loving it.
I can see it now. I can see your passion. I can see people who've gone to master class, who build their own rooms. I can just see the picture portfolio of all the students sending in their creations.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Really stoked. And look, we're about to hopefully visit some and get some cool videos on it, and get some of our affiliate calibrators out there and get proper data on the rooms. And something that some of the reviewers have pretty rooms and they get a gold star whatever award for their room, and it's like, how do you know it works properly? And that's where I want to see the calibration results.
Yeah. Well, once to see the calibration results. Scott, what's the best way of just tracking this for when it gets released? Is it through the new Facebook page? Yeah,
Facebook's the best hub. It's easy to find us there, and then it's got the links over to our we're going to have a bunch of new landing pages that are going to and sort of website underway, which is going to help people find what they want and what they need really easily. Facebook's way to roll. Of course, there's stuff rolling out on YouTube all the time as well.
So that's the Facebook page is
Rogue Home Cinema. Yeah, so Rogue Home Cinema. You should find it pretty easy. ROGUE. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, Scott. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, look, thanks, Michael. It's been great.